David Gilmour is a name well known among classic rock fans, and for many young guitar enthusiasts, he is considered one of the most important guitarists of the 1970s. Gilmour is often referred to as the missing link between two other guitar legends, Jimi Hendrix and Eddie Van Halen. Although not as flashy as Hendrix or Jimmy Page on stage, Gilmour's guitar playing can surpass most other musicians in terms of the emotion conveyed through every note he plays. Gilmour has been ranked as one of the greatest guitarists of all time by various reputable publications, including Rolling Stone. In 2011, Rolling Stone named Gilmour the 14th greatest guitarist of all time, an accolade that recognizes his influence and the uniqueness of his playing style. In his role in Pink Floyd, Gilmour developed an ever-evolving guitar style, blending various influences to create his signature sound. This style is known for its melodic gravitas and flawless lead excursion, prioritizing precision over speed. Gilmour's guitar playing is primarily characterized by blues-influenced phrasing, expressive bending, and distinctive sustain. In a 1985 interview, Gilmour acknowledged his limitations in playing fast techniques like Eddie Van Halen, but emphasized that he always strives to improve. "I can't play like Eddie Van Halen. I wish I could. Sometimes I think I should practice the guitar more," he humbly admitted. Nevertheless, in 2006, Gilmour acknowledged that his fingers produce a distinctive and recognizable sound, even if it's not particularly fast. Phil Taylor, Pink Floyd's technician, also shared his thoughts on Gilmour's uniqueness. According to him, Gilmour's brilliance lies in his vibrato, note choices, and the way he manages effects in his playing. Taylor added that while one could perfectly replicate Gilmour's equipment, no one could ever duplicate the personality that radiates through every note he plays. David Gilmour, with all his uniqueness and skill, has undoubtedly left a profound mark on the world of rock music. His emotionally charged and precise playing style makes him an icon continuously respected and idolized by music fans worldwide. David Jon Gilmour was born on March 6, 1946, in Cambridge, England. From a young age, Gilmour showed a strong interest in music, a talent that was fully supported by his parents. This encouragement led Gilmour on a journey that would change his life and shape the future of rock music. In 1954, at the age of 8, Gilmour bought his first single, "Rock Around the Clock" by Bill Haley, marking the beginning of his interest in music. Gilmour's enthusiasm for music grew the following year when he heard Elvis Presley's Heartbreak Hotel. However, what truly captured his heart was the song "Bye Bye Love" by the Everly Brothers, which sparked his interest in learning to play the guitar. Gilmour then borrowed a guitar from his neighbor, but he never returned it, a small act that would become the start of his long journey as a legendary guitarist. With a guitar in hand, Gilmour began teaching himself to play. He used instruction books and a set of records by Pete Seeger to learn the basics of guitar. Despite being self-taught, Gilmour showed exceptional talent and a strong dedication to the instrument. At the age of 11, Gilmour began attending Perse School on Hills Road, Cambridge. However, he didn't particularly enjoy the school. Nevertheless, it was in this environment that he met two individuals who would later become his bandmates in Pink Floyd, Syd Barrett and Roger Waters. Barrett and Waters were then attending Cambridgeshire High School for boys, also located on Hills Road. Pink Floyd, one of the most iconic bands in music history, had a unique beginning rooted in friendship and creativity in the academic environment of Cambridge. In the mid-1960s, a group of talented young men, united by their love of music, began meeting and playing music together. Among them were Syd Barrett, Roger Waters, Richard Wright, and Nick Mason, who eventually became the founding members of Pink Floyd. Syd Barrett, known for his eccentric personality and outstanding artistic talent, became the central figure in the band's formation. Along with Roger Waters, an architecture student at Regent Street Polytechnic, London, and Nick Mason, who was also studying architecture, they formed a music group that initially played blues and rock and roll. Richard Wright, their friend at Regent Street Polytechnic, joined as a keyboard player, adding depth to the band's sound with influences from jazz and classical music. Initially, the band played music around London under various names, such as Sigma 6 and the T-Set. However, in 1965, Barrett suggested the name the Pink Floyd sound, which was taken from the names of two blues musicians he admired, Pink Anderson and Floyd Council. The name was later shortened to Pink Floyd. With Barrett as the primary songwriter and vocalist, Pink Floyd became known for their experimental music style and unique lyrics. They gained attention for their different approach to music, combining elements of blues, rock, and psychedelia with visual art influences. Their live performances, often accompanied by innovative light shows and visual effects, quickly became a major attraction among underground music enthusiasts in London. Their debut album, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn, 1967, largely written by Barrett, established Pink Floyd as pioneers in the psychedelic music genre. Unfortunately, due to Barrett's mental health issues, the band's musical direction began to change. David Gilmour, an old friend of Barrett's from Cambridge, joined in late 1967 to assist with live performances and recordings. Gilmour's presence not only saved the band from collapse but also helped Pink Floyd transform from a psychedelic group into a progressive music force that dominated the following decade. With creative contributions from Gilmour, Waters, Wright, and Mason, Pink Floyd went on to release a series of legendary albums that cemented their status as one of the greatest bands of all time, including The Dark Side of the Moon, 1973, Wish You Were Here, 1975, and The Wall, 1979. The feud between David Gilmour and Roger Waters, two key members of the legendary band Pink Floyd, is one of the most famous conflicts in rock music history. Gilmour and Waters had very different personalities. Waters was known for being assertive and dominant, while Gilmour was more calm and diplomatic. These personality differences often led to tensions in the music-making process and band decisions. One of the main causes of the conflict between Gilmour and Waters was their differing creative visions for the band. By the late 1970s, Waters increasingly took control over the creative direction of Pink Floyd's music and album concepts, particularly with albums like The Wall, 1979, and The Final Cut, 1983. Gilmour felt that Waters had become too dominant and wasn't allowing space for the creative contributions of the other band members. After Waters left the band in 1985, a legal battle ensued over the rights to the name Pink Floyd. Waters felt that the band should have disbanded after his departure, while Gilmour and the other members wanted to continue without Waters. This feud culminated in a legal battle that lasted for years. Conflict led them to court, where Waters tried to prevent Gilmour and the other members from using the Pink Floyd name. Waters believed that without him, the band should not be able to use a name that had become part of his legacy. However, Gilmour argued that Pink Floyd was bigger than one individual, and that the band still had the potential to create without Waters. Eventually, in the late 1980s, the legal feud ended with an out-of-court settlement. Gilmour, Mason, and Wright were allowed to continue using the Pink Floyd name, while Waters retained rights to certain concepts and works, including The Wall. However, despite the legal resolution, the personal relationship between Gilmour and Waters remained tense and cold for many years. Despite their separation, both Gilmour and Waters continued to create in their own ways. Gilmour carried on the Pink Floyd journey by releasing the albums A Momentary Lapse of Reason, 1987, and The Division Bell, 1994, while Waters launched a successful solo career. However, the shadow of their conflict continued to loom. Public statements from both sides often expressing dissatisfaction and disappointment. But in 2005, a significant moment occurred when Gilmour and Waters, along with Mason and Wright, reunited to perform at the Live 8 concert in London. It was the first time they had played together since the split in the 1980s, and the performance gave many fans hope there might be reconciliation between them. Although the performance was brief, it marked the first step in their peace process. After Live 8, the relationship between Gilmour and Waters slightly improved. They appeared together at several events, including charity concerts and special projects, though the tensions of the past did not completely disappear. On a few occasions, Gilmour and Waters acknowledged that while they might never fully reunite, They had found a way to respect each other's contributions to Pink Floyd's history. In 2006, Gilmour stated that Pink Floyd would likely never tour or write material again. "I think it's enough. I'm 60 years old. I don't have the desire to work that much anymore. Pink Floyd was an important part of my life. I had wonderful times, but it's all over. For me, it's much easier to work alone." On November 7, 2014, Pink Floyd released The Endless River. Gilmour said that this album would be Pink Floyd's final studio album, saying, "I think we have managed to achieve the best of what was there. It's a shame, but this is the end." There was no supporting tour, as Gilmour felt it was impossible without Wright. In August 2015, Gilmour reaffirmed that Pink Floyd was done, and that reuniting without Wright would be wrong. After Pink Floyd officially ceased to be active as a band, David Gilmour continued his career as a solo musician. Gilmour, known as the guitarist and lead vocalist of Pink Floyd, began to focus on his personal projects as well as his family life. Besides music, Gilmour was also involved in various philanthropic activities, including supporting charitable organizations focused on education, the environment, and mental health. Gilmour sold several of his luxury properties, including his house in London, and donated the proceeds to charity. Away from the public spotlight, Gilmour enjoys a quiet life with his wife, Polly Sampson, who often collaborates with him in writing lyrics, and their family. Although he remains remembered as one of the greatest icons in rock history, Gilmour has stated that he is satisfied with the contributions he made to Pink Floyd and his solo work. For him, the days with Pink Floyd become part of history, and he chooses to focus on happiness and personal fulfillment in his later years.